المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا وقدوتنا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Respected brothers and sisters in Islam, first we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala once again. Allah has granted us the peace and the ability to have performed our Maghrib Salah with Jama'ah, alhamdulillah. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says that al-masjidu baytu kulli taqiyyin, that the house of Allah, the masajid, is the house of all of those who fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The people of taqwa, they are the ones who regularly attend the masjid. So we make dua, Allah make us on the people of taqwa. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Last week we spoke about the ayat in Surah Al-Haqqa where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about وَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ بِيَمِينِهِ, the one who will receive his books in his right hand, his book of reckoning will receive in his right hand. فَيَقُولُ هَاؤُمُ اقْرَءُوا كِتَابِيَهْ, and he will be so overjoyed, he will be running around on the day of Qiyamah, and he will be telling his relatives, those who are close to them, that read this book of mine, read this book of mine. Out of excitement and happiness that now we have received this book in his right hand. And when a person receives the book on his right hand, it is a sign of success. That that's a person who will enter the Jannah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives some description of Jannah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about the fruits of Jannah, qutufuha daniyah, that how the tree, how the fruit in Jannah, it will lower itself to the inhabitants of Jannah. Whether you're standing, whether you're sitting, or whether you're reclining, whenever you desire a certain fruit, the tree will come to you and it will lower himself so that you can enjoy from that fruit. And we spoke about how Jannah is an abode of eternity, that we can be in Jannah for thousands of years and thousands of years, not coming to an end. And how the hadith speaks of Rasulullah, how a person will enter Jannah and he will stay at his beautiful palace for 40,000 years. He will stay at the beauty of his wife for 40,000 years, and after 40,000 years, he don't even feel like he's wasted time. He doesn't even feel like 40,000 years. Why? Because he is forever in Jannah. There's no time limitation in Jannah. And this evening, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then mentions the opposite person. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts off, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وأما من أوتي كتابه بشماله فيقول يا ليتني لم أوت كتابه. He will say, the one now he is receiving his book of deeds in his left hand. And when he receives his book of deeds in his left hand, that is a sign of a person that is unsuccessful, a person who has failed. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, that person, فَيَقُولُ يَا لَيْتَنِي لَمْ أُوتَ كِتَابِيَهْ, how I wish that this book of mine wasn't given to me. How I wish that I never received this book. Many times if you get your report in school or in studies, wherever you're studying, and then you receive and you see the results, then you say, I should have just stayed absent, I should have come fetch my report. Like many of the students, they don't even want to go fetch the report. Why? Because they're scared of what they might find in it. So on the day of Qiyamah, Allah says there will be those who will receive the report in the left hand, and they will say that, Ya Rabb, how I wish that I never received this book. How I wish that I never received this book. There's a beautiful saying of Mufti Menk where he says that the book that you will be surprised to read on the day of Qiyamah, even though you're the author of it. Everyone will be surprised to read his book, even though he is the one who authored it. So he says that, so author it well, that write your book beautifully, because you're the one who's going to read it. Allah is not going to call anyone to testify against you. Allah is not going to ask your neighbor, do you remember he did this? Or did you see him do this? No. Even if he saw you in this dunya, you will be, as Allah mentioned in a few places in the Quran, you will be a witness against yourself. You will be enough of a witness. Me and you we will be a witness for ourselves. This book Allah will give us, we will be our witness for whatever we have done in this dunya. So we ask when we make dua, Allah make us of those who will receive our books in our right hands. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Ya laytaha kanat al-qadiyah. He will carry on saying that, oh, I wish that I just died and nothing would happen after death. He will be standing on the day of Qiyamah, receiving his book in his left hand. He will say, Ya Rabb, how I wish I never received this book. How I wish that I just died and nothing happened to me after death. Like how they denied in this dunya, they denied the resurrection. They said there's no judgment day. There's no hisab. They used to laugh at Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They used to mock Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he spoke about the day of hisab. So on that day they will say that, Ya Rabb, how I wish I would just die and nothing would happen to me after that. Ma aghna anni maliyah. My wealth has not been of any use to me. Imagine. You will say that my wealth is of no use to me now. That's what Allah says in another place of the Quran, that a person's wealth and his children will be of no benefit on the day of Qiyamah. Each and every person will be resurrected individually alone. There's no time to run around and call this one and call that one. So he will say that, what benefit is this wealth to me? Halaka anni sultaniya. My power is gone from me for good. There's no sultan, there's no authority anymore. Mufassirun mentioned this means that there's no authority. His rulership in this dunya, his position in this dunya, his power in this dunya will be of no benefit to him. Nor his argument he makes against whatever he sees in his book, that will also be of no benefit. خُذُوهُ فَغُلُّوا. And then it will be said, and in this surah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives a scary description of what will happen to those who's unsuccessful. Allah says, خُذُوهُ فَغُلُّوا. And then it will be said to the malaika that sees him, take him, then put a collar around his neck like an animal. Put a collar around his neck, says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ثُمَّ الْجَحِيمَ صَلُّوا. And then a blazing fire, let him burn, says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Cast him into this fire. Allah instructing the malaika to cast him into this fire. ثُمَّ فِي سِلْسِلَةٍ ذَرْعُهَا سَبْعُونَ ذِرَاعًا فَاسْلُكُوهُ. Allah says, thereafter fasten him with a chain, the measure of which is 70 hands. 70 hands is about 30 meters roughly. Allah says that tie him up with a chain that is the length of 30 meters. Imagine with 30 meters out of the masjid. A chain of 30 meters. These are not fairy tales, my beloved brothers and sisters in Islam. These are ayat of the Quran. The Mufassirun mentions, some has mentioned that this long chain will be connected to the collar around his neck, and then it will be tied around him, and he will be cast into the fire, wrapped in chains, nowhere to move. Ibn Abbas, look at the description of Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu. He says, this fasluku, it means that on the day of Qiyamah, when he's been thrown into the fire of Jahannam, meaning the chain will be entered into his buttocks and pulled out by his mouth. Then they will be arranged on a chain like how locusts are arranged on a stick that is being roasted. Imagine that, like how a spit braai. Like how a spit braai, that is the picture Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu is telling us. This is what will happen to that person. And he will be thrown into the fire of Jahannam. Nowhere to move. إِنَّهُ كَانَ لَا يُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ الْعَظِيمِ. Allah now gives the reason why he will go through this. إِنَّهُ لَا يُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ الْعَظِيمِ. Indeed, he did not believe in Allah. He did not bring iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَا يَحُضُّ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ. And he did not persuade others to feed the needy. Imagine. So Sabuni mentioned that he disbelieved in Allah and he was stingy. His heart was void of rahmah and mercy towards others. His heart was void of mercy towards those who are in need. So the two crimes, says Rasul says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he never believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he was very stingy. He never wanted to spend on those who are needy, those who are hungry. فَلَيْسَ لَهُ الْيَوْمَ هَاهُنَا حَمِيمٌ. So he has no friend here today. There's no one to stand guarantee for him, says Allah. وَلَا طَعَامٌ إِلَّا مِنْ غِسْلِينَ. No any food except from that which flows from the wounds of the people of Jahannam. Imagine the food. Allah says it is the running pus that come and the blood that come out of the wounds of the people of Jahannam. That will be his food. لا يأكله إلا الخاطئون, which is eaten by none but the sinners. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. So here we find, my beloved brothers and sisters, Allah gives so in detailed description of some of the events on the day of Qiyamah and what some will experience when placed in the fire of Jahannam. And they will be in such desperation. As Allah mentioned in the Quran, the food of Jahannam is not merely to satisfy, there's no benefit in it. There's no enjoyment in it. Some of the food of Jahannam, Allah explained, will be from this thorny plant that they will eat. Another place Allah mentioned, this water that they will drink, that as soon as they drink it, their lips, their face, their intestines, all of it will melt away. Because of the heat of this water, yet they will be willing to drink it because of the thirst they will experience. Because of the thirst they will experience on the day of Qiyamah. Imagine the worst day we had. We're the most thirstiest we ever were in our life. If somebody to give you a very hot cup of water, we won't drink it, we'll leave it to cool down. No matter how thirsty we are. So imagine the level of thirst that will make a person want to drink such boiling water that will make his insides melt. And then you will be resurrected again, you will be brought alive again and experience the punishment over and over and over. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, that Allah grants us the understanding and the reality of these things, that we should realize that these are not fairy tales. These are not things to entertain us, but this is the reality. As Allah mentioned in the Quran, these are things that will take place. These occurrences and things will happen. And Allah must make us from the Ashabul Yameen. Those who will be on the right side on the day of Qiyamah. Those who will receive our books on the right. And those who will ultimately enter the Jannah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask Allah to give us a tawfiq understanding. Wa akhiru da'wana.